and a very warm welcome to this special preview of the third and the final ODI game being played between India and England. It is a decider. It's a Sunday game. It's between two teams that are coming into this decider after having won one game each. It couldn't be better for a Sunday evening. So here we are previewing that game. It's being played in Manchester, and the toss update is that India have won the toss and they have opted to bowl first. That's right. Despite the fact that records at Manchester favor teams batting first, India deciding to go with wanting to bowl first. England were happy. They wanted to bat first anyway. But there's just one change, and we'll talk about that. A big name, Jasprit Bumrah. He is not playing the decider. How much of an impact will that have on this match? That's the big question. It is a big blow for them given how well Jasprit Bumrah has been bowling in the series. One of the main reasons why India won the first game was because the destroyer-in-chief was Jasprit Bumrah, but he's been out because of a back spasm. So in comes Mohammad Siraj in place of him. That's the only change for India. England have gone with the same playing 11 from the last game. They also had a very good game. We'll take you through all of that. We'll also talk about specific players like Shikha Dhawan, and how many chances will Shikha Dhawan be given from here on, because we know that he's only playing one format. So will he play the World Cup from here on? What are his prospects? We'll talk about that. Virat Kohli, this is the last game he plays before he takes a long break during that West Indies series. How much of what he does today will impact his chances for the T20I World Cup later this year? So much to talk about. So let's get straight into it. But all of you who are joining us right now, India, they have won the toss at Manchester and they have opted to field first. Now, this is a surprising decision. Why? Because we're going to put up some graphics on your screens and you can see why we think this was a surprise. We'll also tell you why Rohit Sharma, in fact, may have wanted to bowl first, because the average score batting first is 289. That's in the last 10 matches. Why this is surprising is that 8 out of the last 10 matches, they have been won by teams batting first. So you look at that, and that's going to come up on your screens as well. So average score 289. For the teams batting first. Teams batting first have won 8 out of the last 10 matches. And I'm sure these figures would have been given to the team management as well. Now, why they are choosing to bowl first is because of the cloudy, overcast conditions in Manchester at the moment, which is what Joss Butler at the toss also spoke about. He said that, these are overcast conditions, but we would have liked to bat first. So that's one of the reasons why India would have wanted that. We know that could assist fast bowlers. We've also seen historically this is a ground where fast bowlers are assisted on the pitch. Okay, the average and the strike rate for fast bowlers on this pitch is the second best in England. So here we are, India deciding to bowl first after winning the toss. Rohit Sharma at the toss spoke also about Jasprit Bumrah and how he's out because of a niggle. Now, one thing that has stood out in this series has been the bowling for both sides, and that's why I say it's a huge blow for India with Jasprit Bumrah sitting out, because he's been a huge positive for India in this ODI series. There were concerns about how Indian bowlers struggled to do well in the power plays in this particular format since the 2019 World Cup, and in this series they showed what they are capable of. We're going to put those graphics up on screen, and it's not just India who've done well in the last 2 ODIs, it is also England. It's the batting really which will be in focus in today's game. So let's put those numbers up. Bowling, a big positive for both the teams. Indian pacers, they've been outstanding in the series. And you look at those numbers, Jasprit Bumrah, 8 wickets at an economy of 3.92. That is incredible. And what he did in the power play in the first game just rattled the English batting. Then you look at Reece Topley. If Jasprit Bumrah did that in the first game, Reece Topley 6 for 24 at Lords. One of the only reasons, in fact, in that match, once India had lost so many wickets up top, There was no way they could have come back. So it is really bowling for both these teams. Also, let's not forget Yuzvendra Chahal, who was exceptional in the second game as well, restricting England to 246. But unfortunately, Indian batting could not reach that target. Okay, so what are we expecting today in terms of Indian batting? Focus will be on two players. Let's first talk about Shikha Dhawan, who will be captaining India in the next series that is coming up against the West Indies in the ODIs. He has not looked his convincing best, and this is something that we've spoken about on all our earlier shows as well, where I asked this question to Nikhil as well. And having spoken to some of the former players, one thing that stands out in Shikha Dhawan's case for me, and I don't know, you might come in and tell me if you think otherwise. I genuinely think that for someone who's just playing one format at the moment, and given that that format has shrunk in terms of the number of matches being played considerably, Shikha Dhawan does seem out of rhythm. And which we saw in the last two games, 31 of 54 balls in the first game, 9 of 26 in that series, averaging 37. He has another series, West Indies, where he'll be captaining, where he can, prove his credentials. But things are going to be difficult if he wants to be considered for the ODI World Cup later next year, because he's not young. Unfortunately, that length of rope that selectors give to some of the players, that reduces in a big way with age. And 36, 37, next day will be 38. He's got to grab every opportunity. So that's Shikha Dhawan, not at his fluent best. But what about another change in India's batting lineup? Should this be done? Tell me if you think it should be done. Should Rishabh Pant be pushed to number 5? And the man who's in red hot pepper chili form, Suryakumar Yadav, Mr. 360, should he be promoted up the order? Let's put that up. For Rishabh Pant, he has failed at number 4 for India in the sense Lords out for duck, averages 26.3 at number 4. He's failed 8 times in 13 innings at number 4. So here is a question for all of you and for the team management. So should Suryakumar Yadav, who is in this incredible form, should he be promoted up the order? And that's for something to think about. I don't see it happening, but that is a valid question given how well Suryakumar is batting. Just put him up. Let's see what he can do. The other big question is also India's struggle when it comes to lower order batting. We've seen it, in fact, since the 2019 World Cup. This is something Rohit Sharma also spoke about in the post-match press conference, where he said that once we start losing a lot of wickets, our lower order is unable to anchor the ship. He said that he expected the Indian lower order to, after being down for 31 for 4 in the last game, to at least get to 250, which would have been the winning. I think the target was, of course, 247. So that's something he's spoken about. And that also then brings me to the next question, which they've not done in the team because we already have the team out, is should Shardul Thakur have been brought in place of Prasidh Krishna, given that Mohammad Shami batting at number 8 is a position that's way too up for him. But they've not considered it. Okay, now the big question, the scrutiny on Virat Kohli. He's done everything. He's had Babar Azam back him. He's had Kevin Peterson back him. He's had Novak Djokovic, like Kevin Peterson's tweet, backing him. So we've seen everybody back Virat Kohli, and rightfully so. He deserves all the support at this moment. He's even gone and sought divine intervention, which we saw some of those photos at a bhajan, for some, there was some kind of a meeting where he was seen with his wife. But this is going to be a massive encounter for Virat Kohli. Why? Because this will be the last match he plays before he's rested for the West Indies ODIs as well as the T20 series. A massive encounter for Virat Kohli. He's had a shocking 2022. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody has an opinion on it, but he's averaging just 25 in all formats, which is the second lowest. And also, as everybody now knows, hasn't got 100 since 2019. This is an important one because what could be better for someone like Virat Kohli right now to get a big score and then go on a long break with his family, just regroup himself in terms of, you know, what he wants going forward, what are some of the things in the game that he wants to work on, and all of that. I think he'll enjoy his this much needed break a lot more if he gets big runs. But the front foot commitment, that is causing trouble. Now we've got a lot of former players talk about it as well, where that forward press sometimes undoes him, which we saw in the last game as well. Looked beautiful, a cover drive, on drive, and then, you know, a shortish delivery, and he nicks it. So that is the other thing. Rest from the West Indies series as well. That was surprising. Everybody thought, given that your top 5 players were already rested from the ODI series, the report suggested that Virat Kohli, along with the others, would have been back for the T20I series, with Rohit Sharma being back, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, all of them being back for the T20I series. The Jasprit Bumrah is rested from both the ODIs as well as the T20I series, and we know why, because he's been playing all the formats and he really is someone as a fast bowler, and the kind of impact he makes being in the team to be kept, that his workload basically is balanced well. But Virat Kohli, everybody expected, should have been back in the T20I series. Now reports suggest that he wanted to take a break, not just from the ODIs as well, he wanted it from the T20I series as well. So that is Virat Kohli. The big question, again, I'm sure you all also want Virat Kohli to get back to form just like we do. Then now it's not just Indian batting that has, you know, struggled at various stages. We saw in the second game specifically, but England openers, England's top order, specifically Jason Roy, he has struggled, and also Jos Buttler, the captain in the limited overs format, hasn't had a good outing, be it in the T20I series, which they lost to India, or the ODI series. Jos Buttler, 3 single-digit scores in last 5 innings, and we all remember that 498 against Ireland. Jos Buttler, what an absolutely incredible innings he played, but at the moment Jos Buttler hasn't been able to score runs. Jason Roy, 2 ducks in the last 5 matches, 58 runs at an average of 10.8 in these matches. That is shoddy, and I think England, this probably is his last opportunity before England looks for some replacement for him. So this is an important one, not just for Jason Roy, but for England as well, because they will then need to replace him given how he has been struggling. So that's so far what we've seen. Now, for all of you who are joining us at the moment, the news, the toss update from Manchester is that India have won the toss and they have opted to bowl first. Also, there's an update, like we said, from the BCCI, Jasprit Bumrah, he was ruled out of this game owing to back spasms, and Arshdeep Singh, he was not considered for selection as he is yet to fully recover from right abdominal strain. So one change for this Indian team. England have gone with the same playing 11 from the last game. The focus will be, of course, on Indian batting, given that they lost the last match by 100 runs. India would expect their openers to come good, and Virat Kohli, just before he goes on that much needed break, to score some runs. So yes, that's it then on this special. We get you all the latest from the world of sports. We're also covering the World Athletics Championships. So, you know, News9 Sports is what you need to subscribe to. We've got some excellent analysis with my colleague Amit Kamath, with our sports editor Sandeep Mishra. So if you are interested in the World Athletics Championships, then you need to log into News9 Sports. Also, just before we end, congratulations to PV Sindhu. She has beaten Wang Zi from China in the final of the Singapore Open, making this her third title in 2022. That's it then. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.